It is undisputed that slip joint folding knives form part of the foundation of knife culture. We all have traditional slip joint knives that have been handed down from our fathers and grandfathers. But do traditional slip joint knives have limitations? Of course they do. Limitations in deployment and lack of modern steels. Until now, some large companies, as well as some custom designers, have begun building modern slip joint folders that address some of these concerns with traditional folders. In this episode, we're going to take a look at one of these modern slip joint knives, the Benchmade 319 Proper. Let's go outside and take a look at this knife. Hello and welcome back to Blade Insider, where we discuss all things knives. Today we're here on location in beautiful Sandusky, Ohio at the Cedar Point Resort. It's pretty windy outside, so I apologize for any audio issues. I thought this would be a great location to talk about modern takes on traditional knives. Cedar Point itself is a mix of tradition and modern amusements. Cedar Point was opened in the late 1800s and is the second oldest operating amusement park in the United States. It is known as America's roller coaster and features 17 roller coasters. Cedar Point sits on a peninsula in Lake Erie, and during the American Civil War, a battery of 4 field artillery pieces were constructed at the tip of this peninsula and used to defend a prison for Confederate soldiers on nearby Johnson Island. Eventually, the bathhouse was constructed along with a dance house and wooden walkways along the beach. These were built to attract visitors. The boardwalk still attracts visitors today, despite the fact that modern roller coasters tower over it. The mix of tradition and modern features is incorporated in the Benchmade 319 Proper. We're going to take a closer look at this knife and discuss its features. But before I forget, please subscribe to our channel for new weekly content. And if you get anything out of this video, please hit the like button below. The Proper family is a medium-sized gentleman's slip joint folding pocket knife. The knife does not lock, so it's legal almost everywhere. It has a finely tuned back spring, making the opening and closing of the knife solid. The knife comes in 3 flavors: a G10, micarta, and carbon fiber scale. The 318 is a clip point blade, and the 319 is a sheep's foot blade. Retail price on these knives are $128 for the G10 or micarta and $204 for the carbon fiber. The G10 and micarta have S30V steel, and the carbon fiber has S90 steel. Benchmade makes a gold class 319. It's made with Mokum bolsters, jeweled liners, and Damasteel blade steel. It runs for about $1,000. The Proper competes with traditional slip joint folders such as Case, but with other modern day folders as well, such as the ZT0230. Now, let's take a closer look at the Benchmade 319 Proper. This is a 319 Proper in micarta scales. The knife has no clip and fits very well in your pocket. I really love the micarta scales on this knife. I am constantly rubbing the knife with my own hands to give it my own unique look. Micarta will soak up the oils in your hand and allows for a unique pattern to form on the scales. The grip of the knife is very smooth and it has a good feeling to the touch. The scales are secured by 3 screws that can be dismantled. The scales are chamfered and a backspacer runs the entire length of the knife and is flush with the scales. On the rear of the knife is a lanyard hole that can be used for either a lanyard or can be put on a keychain ring. The inner steel liner is skeletonized to reduce weight. The blade is very thin on top, so deploying it by a finger pinch makes it a little more difficult. The blade does have a nail nick to allow for an additional way to deploy it. The blade is a sheep's foot blade with some jimping on the end of it. And there's also a little jimping on the front of the scale. Let's run the tape on this knife. Overall length is 6.65 inches. Blade length is 2.825 inches, and the handle length is 3.85 inches. Blade thickness is 0.09 inches. Blade material is CPM S30V steel. It's got a flat grind, satin finish, and it weighs 2.28 ounces. As I said earlier, there's no clip on this blade. Therefore, it can be used equally by right hand and left handers. The knife feels very good in the hand, but I can slightly feel the steel liner when I hold it. I do like the slight finger guard here on the scale and the blade shape. So I feel that if my hand slipped, it would not be cut by the blade. The blade steel is S30V. The steel ranks 5 for ease of sharpening, 8 for edge retention, 5 for toughness, and 7 for corrosion resistance. Comparing this to VG10, it is slightly easier to sharpen at a range of 6 out of 10, but the VG10 does not maintain its edge as good as S30V and is slightly less tough. They both are fairly well at resisting corrosion, ranking a 7 out of 10. Well, that's a Benchmade 319 Proper from windy Cedar Point, Ohio. So why buy this knife? Why buy the modern slip joint knife when there are so many locking varieties out there? First, it's tradition. We all grew up with slip joint knives. Next, the knife is unassuming and will not create anxiety in public. Also, the knife is very portable and you can slip it and forget it in your pocket. My final verdict on this knife is a recommendation. The blade shape and the micarta scales make this knife stand out. The knife has enough resistance while being deployed to prevent it from accidentally closing on your fingers. The knife has a knife half stop to it as well. I don't like the thinness on the top of the blade. It prevents me from getting a good pinch to deploy it. But other than that, I think the knife is great. What do you think? Are you buying slip joint knives? If so, do you prefer traditional or modern folders? Answer these questions or leave your own comments on any other topic raised in this video in the section below. I love to read all of your feedback. Again, I hope you got something out of the video and have some kind of idea of whether or not you want to go and purchase a traditional or modern day slip joint knife. I really appreciate you sticking around and viewing the video. And I hope that you'll subscribe to our channel for new weekly content. We do enjoy putting these out for you. And if you got anything out of the video, hit the like button below. We'll see you next week.